Hello, welcome back to Podmas. We are Game Club Pod, live from Cincinnati.
Live from the Silver Dome.
From the Mega Dome. I'm Tim. I'm joined by Alex.
Hello.
Hello, and I'm joined by Joey.
I'm Joey. Bye. Hi.
I panicked, okay. We are doing a bit of something different from last year's Podmas. We are doing a short special on the Star Wars Holiday Special movie.
Boy, howdy, is it special.
Special is the word. Guys, how are we feeling about the movie? I'm going to go to immediate thoughts with Joey.
I had to watch this in 3 parts. Because it was really difficult to watch in one. So, I mean, take that as you will. Not good is probably the answer.
And Alex?
I watched this film about 8 hours ago, so the horrors are still fresh.
And I watched this film yesterday. So this is the Star Wars Holiday Special is a special that aired on TV once in 1978, and then George Lucas said never again until Disney Plus picked up the rights, and now it's on there, I think.
Is it?
According to someone that I work with, it is. Apparently.
Oh, God.
But the whole thing centers around Han and Chewie, or Chewbacca, are coming to Endor. Is that where the Wookiees live?
No, the Wookiees are on Tatooine, aren't they?
Oh no, Kashyyyk with 3 Y's according to the IMDb description. There's 3 Y's in the word Kashyyyk altogether.
So Kashyyyk.
Yeah, Kashyyyk.
Yeah.
And what this eventually boils down into is like a 70s variety show with the loose framing of Star Wars, but it's the most deranged way of framing it, because whoever put this together had the brilliant idea of having all the dialogues of the Wookiees either not in human language or not subtitled.
Yeah.
So it's just roaring noises at each other for about 10 minutes at a time, followed by like a non sequitur, like a complete depart from whatever the fuck we've just been watching. And we're going to talk about it.
Yay.
Guys, where do you want to begin?
Can we begin with the fact that it's not all original content?
Yes, they reuse a lot of the movie footage.
Quite a lot of it is just taken straight from A New Hope.
But it's not even like any of the decent action scenes. It's just ships flying through space and slowly approaching a planet, and that's it.
Could you imagine you sat there on Christmas Day in 1978? Last year you went and saw A New Hope at the cinema, and it completely changed your world perspective. You turn the TV on, it's like a Star Wars Holiday Special. You're like, oh yes, let's go. And then that's what happens to you. Because you don't watch this. This film happens to you.
You don't watch this. The film watches you. So
we have, it's like I say, it focuses around Chewie's family. His wife, Malia, didn't know he had a wife, Malia, played by Mickey Morton. We have his dad, Paul Gale, playing Itchy, the Wookiee, with his giant lower lip.
Yep.
And then his son, Lumpy. Fucking Lumpy.
Lumpy, Chewy, and Itchy.
I don't understand what the problem with Lumpy, Chewy, and Itchy.
What's the problem with their costumes in particular? Because they got Peter Mayhew back to play Chewie, and they did all the contacts and all the makeup properly for him. But all the other members of Chewie's family had really human eyes, and it was really off-putting. And every time Lumpy flared his teeth or did a smile or something, it looked like he was cringing. Every single time.
I liked it. I thought it was really good.
Is that why it took you 3 watches?
Reason. Yeah. That's why I had such a good time. I wanted to watch it 3 times.
And bearing in mind it's only 1 hour and 20 as well.
It felt so much longer. It's about 1 hour and 20 minutes, and there were several points where Payne and I were watching it being like, how is this not over? How is this not ended?
I asked that about 10 minutes in. This thing was just an hour and 10 minutes of let's have something from Star Wars that looks really cheap, and let's make it watch TV for a bit.
Yeah. So we get to the first distress call, if you like, from the Wookiees, where Han and Chewie haven't made it home because they're being held up by the Empire, and so they
are trying to get home for Life Day, though.
For Life Day, not Christmas. Very important.
Very important.
And
But
they
surely,
they call Luke on their cupboard TV. Don't know what that's about. And Luke is working on a ship with R2-D2, and credit where credit's due, they actually seem to get the majority of the Star Wars cast back.
Can we just clarify, though, that this is definitely done in one take?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. I suppose the good thing with the Wookiees is they can't mess up their lines because it's just screaming at each other.
Yeah.
And Luke says, "Don't worry, they'll be home. Ignore my obvious spray tan and bleached hair." Very, very off-putting. Then it cuts to, is it the chef bit with the whip stir thing?
What was going on with that? Because it was just a recipe for a made-up thing. Is that funny?
I don't know. And looking at the makeup, because that was, it was a named actor in the intro, because they were like, and featuring this person. I want to say it was Art Carney who was playing this. It might have even been someone else, but Art Carney's in this film. It might have been him. Is it me, or did it look like blackface?
It wasn't far off.
It was either black or silver.
Unfortunately, it was a myriad of incredibly offensive things in this movie.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. So what it boiled down to was Malia the Wookiee following along with the TV chef with 4 arms while she shouts "whip stir" at you for about 5 minutes, and then the segment ends.
Yep.
And then we cut to a trader who is trying to sell a member of the Empire a pocket-sized aquarium, and then the Empire employee says, "No thanks, I hate fish," and then the merchant says, "I also hate fish," and then we look at some other stuff that's like in a shoebox in a shop.
What was that about? Why did they have a pocket-sized aquarium?
I don't know. I don't know. And then there's a transmission from the Wookiees, and he's like trying to talk in code, being like, "That rug you ordered was handmade by one person. It was made by Han Solo."
Han Solo.
And then the Empire guy's just like, "That's a weird transmission," and carries on looking at the pocket aquarium.
Yeah. Can I just say, we've had the possibility of doing this, watching this on every single Podmas since the podcast started.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't regret that it's taken 3 years to watch it.
So one other thing that I just wanted to point out as well, and Payne mentioned this when we were watching this. The Wookiees are typically like, a tribe-based treetop, like living people. Looking at the lore and on Wikipedia, their homes are like typically very just cobbled together, made of whatever wooden resources they could get.
This one had a
This
bougie
like a log
kitchen.
cabin. There was like TVs and full kitchens and porches and balconies,
and they had action figures of X-wings. That was my favourite thing in the whole thing.
The
where the
action
little
figures of
kid was flying the X-wing around the old man, and he just went. The little kid went,
started cringing again.
It was so wild.
So the merchant comes along to the house to deliver some supplies because the Empire have now put the whole galaxy on lockdown somehow. And the merchant's like, "Here, Grandpa, try this new VR set." And he puts in a cassette tape in what is clearly like a barber salon chair. And the grandpa puts it on and is basically just sat watching Wookiee porn in the living room.
Porn. It was really weird.
It's very weird, like complete with like kaleidoscope backgrounds. And I was saying to Payne watching this while the Wookiees were just shouting at each other with not really much happening, saying this is just like lights and shapes and colors. And then the kaleidoscope came on, and I was like, "Oh God, we've really boiled down into lights and shapes and colors."
Mm-hmm.
So after we get the Wookiee porn VR experience, something that every Star Wars fan has wanted, I'm sure.
And had.
He then puts out like this sewing machine looking thing and then fucks off somewhere. And then the Empire come in and are like, check everywhere. I need information linking the rebels to this house specifically. And with no other real context clues, the stormtroopers just start kicking the shit out of all the furniture. And one of the stormtroopers goes, "What's this?" pointing at the sewing machine. They open it up and Jefferson Starship are playing inside, doing a really weird live set.
Yeah, really. Yeah. I didn't think I'd heard of Jefferson Starship before, but I certainly won't ever listen to him again now.
They've got some good songs, though, Jefferson Starship, but
So
that wasn't one of them. And it also went on for way too long. There was it also took a really weird amount of time to set up the sewing machine. Like, they could have just had like a fold-out thing, but the stormtrooper was like, "What is this thing?" And they spend maybe 6-7 minutes just pushing buttons, pulling cables, pulling things out the thing.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the key things in this movie. Every single scene is about 2 minutes longer than it needs to be.
Yeah, that's very, very odd. Then there's a communication with Princess Leia, played by Carrie Fisher, and she says, "Don't worry, Han and Chewie will be there soon." And then the kid goes upstairs to open up a Christmas present that he got, which turned out to be a device that could impersonate Empire radio.
so strange.
Very, very weird. And then we're met with a 5-minute instructional video on how to use the machine, played out in full. Like, complete with, "Please locate the baggie containing the screwdrivers. Be sure not to rip the baggie. In case you need to put the screwdrivers back, you need to have somewhere handy to store them for later. So it's important that you don't rip the baggie and place this back in the original packaging." It's such a weird detail, and the tape was broken as well.
But then I don't understand it, because we were at this scene of this kid watching this instructional video of how to put this transponder together, and then for some reason out of nowhere it cuts to the fucking tavern on Mos Eisley.
Yes,
with the oh, there's a curfew now. Oh, everyone get out, and everyone's like, no.
Starring B. Arthur.
So sorry. Now that we're at the tavern on Mos Eisley, I was sat here thinking, I'm in my second, maybe third playthrough of this. This is awful and offensive to me as a human with actual senses. This can't get worse, though. I've just got to power through. And then they started singing.
Yep, it's a musical, everyone.
The musical.
There are two. I think I read on Letterboxd, someone says, "I can't believe this thing has 4.5 music numbers in it." So there's a whole thing, which this transmission comes on their TV, which is definitely, by the way, just like a ZX Spectrum, just plugged into a big display. And this announcer comes on and goes, "This is mandatory watching for all Empire employees." And then they just play a musical number with B. Arthur in a tavern trying to tell everyone to get out.
Yeah.
Very, very weird. Then eventually the kid fakes the Empire signal so it goes, "All Empire employees are instructed to return to the Death Star," or whatever. And one of the guys goes, "You stay here," to another stormtrooper, who then proceeds to go upstairs and just break everything the child owns. Like, he rips the transponder out of the kid's hand and throws it on the ground.
Deserved.
And he rips the head off this. I can't remember what the mammoth's called. It's the one that travels with the Ewoks and the trader ship. You know what I mean?
The Banthas, isn't it?
It is a Bantha, you're right.
I think it's a Bantha, yeah.
So he's got this Bantha toy, and it looks like something he could like sit on and maybe ride. And the stormtrooper goes out of his way to deliberately rip the head off this thing and then throw it on the ground in front of him. And then when the kid picks it up, he haphazardly puts the head next to the body and then tucks the whole thing in and then gives it a kiss goodnight and goes downstairs. It's still going to be broken when you get back up there.
But at least he'll sleep well.
He will sleep well forever. Then the stormtrooper goes out onto the balcony for one reason or another, and Chewie is there, and he kicks him off the balcony to his death Joey, you
my real favourite part of this, it was Han Solo threw him off the roof.
yeah.
It's just like...
Threw him off a roof and then was like, hey, I told you we'd make Life Day. And then Han Solo said, well, I gotta go, see ya. And then
the most awkward hug in film and TV history happens, where Han Solo and Chewie hug and they look like they're going in for a kiss. It's really strange.
really bizarre. And then on the way out, Han goes, well, no one will miss this gun, and kicks it into the forest.
No kids will play there. No one will find it. It's fine.
No. Then the merchant comes back and goes, good, Chewie, you're here. Finally, we can start Life Day. And then they wind up in this cave where everyone's wearing like red robes, a bit like a cult. And Carrie Fisher is singing at them.
The only thing that could have saved this is if the song was sung by the Wookiees.
I really wanted a Wookiee musical number. I was praying for a Wookiee musical number.
Well, you didn't get your prayers answered, Tim.
Yeah. There was also a bizarre, like, 70s, like, animated bit.
That was the only bit I thought that was quite good in this.
Yeah, it was like hand-drawn animation. It was based on the Star Wars Droid series. So I think they actually got the guys who did that series in to do that section. But that was okay. It didn't really have an ending because the whole plot of that was Han Solo and Chewie's ship has gone weird and they crash on this purple liquid planet. Boba Fett's there. And Luke goes to save them with C-3PO and R2-D2. And it turns out Boba Fett is working for Darth Vader. And when that's revealed, he just kind of has a moment of, I have to go now. My planet needs me. And then jetpacks off into the atmosphere. And that's the end.
Good story.
I wish there was more to it than that, but there really isn't.
Who would have thought that the bit with Boba Fett would be the best bit?
Who would have thought? Cool bit. And then the film ends with a musical number sung by Carrie Fisher, and all the Star Wars crew are there except James Earl Jones. He's the villain.
Yeah.
That's the movie.
What else can you say?
Thoughts?
There's one thing that really annoys me with this film, and it's the holiday Life Day. To me, that would be a birthday. If you said to me what holiday is a Life Day, I would think that's a birthday. I wouldn't be there going, oh, well, it must be Christmas. And it pissed me off the entire movie. Every time they said it, I was just there going, that's a stupid name.
Lead writer Bruce Valanche has admitted that he was using cocaine, quote, heavily while helping to write the special.
There is an appearance of oh my God, I've forgotten his name. The guy who plays Han Solo. Why can't I remember his name? Harrison Ford. I kept going, Pierce Brosnan? No, it's not him. No. Is it Pierce Brosnan? No, it's still not him. Harrison Ford appeared on Conan, who was asking him about this, and he flat out denied that it existed.
Yeah. There's a shot where Carrie Fisher's singing during the Life Day ceremony, and Harrison Ford is just kind of looking down towards the ground, and he's got this proper look of, I'm above this. I can do better than this.
But I think all of the actors look a bit like they all look a bit like they don't want to be there the whole time.
Yeah. I was also just reading, I mentioned Mark Hamill's fake tan. Apparently, about 2 months before this, he was in a car accident, and the fake tan was an attempt to cover it with makeup.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I never want to watch this again.
No?
No.
No, never again. Join us next week. We watch this every day, for every week, for a year, and it's called the People That Hate Themselves Fanatics thing.
Love it.
Let's never do it again, Tim.
By the end of it.
Would you guys recommend this movie for someone who has never seen it before?
No.
I think I would, but I love my weird and awful cinema.
I would, but I don't hate myself, so no.
It's the kind of film that you watch when you're like 2 days sleep deprived, and you're up on nothing but coffee and Monster, and you go, "Oh, the Star Wars." That's the only time this film makes sense.
I don't even think it makes sense then. This is the type of film that the only time it would be used is in Guantanamo Bay. It's yeah, no, I wouldn't recommend this to anyone.
Apparently, the lead costume designer. Sorry, I'm just delving into the rabbit hole that is IMDb. The lead costume designer for the Wookiee family, Stan Winston, also did the special effects for Fat Bastard in the Austin Powers movies.
Wow. There you go.
What I want to know is, by the time this movie had come out, the only Star Wars that had been released was A New Hope. How did the franchise not die from this? Do you know what I mean? Like, I know A New Hope was really good, and at the time it was a cinematic masterpiece for its time. But this is like the other end of that scale and then some. I don't know how the franchise didn't just collapse.
You're going to upset some people for your continued use of "at the time" there.
Yeah. I was saying, Mr. Payne, can you imagine being like a father to a family in the 70s and being like, oh yeah, my kids like Star Wars. We'll put this on round the Christmas family dinner evening. That'll be a great time. And then it's just Wookiees shouting at each other for 10 minutes.
It's an hour and 20 minutes of with the occasional yes, that's right, Chewie.
Just watch the Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah, watch
anything. Just watch anything.
This film is a fever dream. It's weird that it exists.
Yeah, it's so bad. It's so bad. It's made Tim delirious because he said, "Can you imagine getting your family to watch this around the Christmas dinner evening thing?" Let's never talk about this again, boys.
No.
Talk about what?
Next year?
Exactly. No. See you later.
Bye.
It's Podmas.